Hey, Steve, how you doing? Good to have you around, man. Give me a second here. I'm just making everything line up on my end. Put this volume down. Let me know if that's too loud or too quiet. It should be okay. And bloop, there we go. Hey guys, what's up? All right, so we're going to be building Spelljammer campaign. Let's see. Yeah, here we have Spelljammer. We're looking at the Eberron Spelljammer campaign that we're building for my Discord as playtesting for the Mecha Kaiju book that we're publishing, the Bastion Campaign that we're publishing, and assuming anyone chooses some of the subclasses, the Spelljammer subclass book that we'll be publishing on the DMsGuild. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online, and I am obviously focusing my attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition 2024 rules right now. Just to finish up my intro of myself, I have a slew of books that have already been published. These books that actually I published are on DMsGuild. They have free previews, 100% cover to cover. Look at my art and my ideas. If you think they're cool, buying a book encourages me to make more books along that same campaign or mechanical idea or narrative. And shout out to my community on Discord. Be welcome to join. I'd love to have you. This is where we do our playtesting, which we will be doing more playtesting in February for this campaign that we're building right now. And huge thanks to new subscribers today. Thank you. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications of we are in live in the future. I stream art Monday through Friday in the mornings, Monday and Thursday nights like this, as well as Saturday mornings. I do game design as well, and I'm typically working on 2 or 3 different projects at the same time. Right now we're doing artwork for an Eberron campaign adventure that is not in space in Spelljammer. It's in the Carnwood fighting necromancers, undead, and demons, protecting the world from demonic invasion. So you can check out the artwork to that right now. We're doing monster art in the mornings, and here in the evening we're doing whatever project it is that we're working on next. And right now that's this Spelljammer campaign. We're going to start at 5th level, and then we're going to gain a level each month. So we'll go from 5th to 14th level, starting in February, ending in October. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's 9 months. February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Yeah, so if everything paces out, 9 months, 9 levels, Bob's your uncle. So, so we're building out the communities right now that the campaign is going to take place in. Just to recap for anyone that's not familiar already. Bloop, there we go. This is the Eberron orbit, the orbit of Eberron, or the Eberron system. Eberron is in the center of the system, not including the sun, and I don't think there's other planets in Eberron. I think there's just the sun and Eberron and its moons. So each of these squares is 10,000 miles. Eberron, an 8,000 mile diameter planet, fits inside that 10,000 mile square as easily as a dwarf would fit inside of a 5-foot square. Each of these concentric circles is one of the orbits that the moons of Eberron circle the planet, and the Tears of Sybaris is a belt of asteroids that we're expanding out to just be a large net of shattered stone and all sorts of material floating in space that exists all throughout the system, from the near orbit of Eberron out to the moon of Shavarith, all the way out here 220,000 miles away. So basically all this area is filled in. The Spelljammer ships that we're using, the larger vessels, can travel 10,000 miles per day. So this is a rough hex crawl style grid map where, like, if I wanted to travel from where we're starting here and head to the Pirates of Lazar, that'd be a 1-day, 2-day, 3-day, 4-day venture. These areas are fresh air system, veins of fresh air, or clear paths, I guess is a way of putting it, in a Super Mario Brothers, like Super Mario World sort of way. These different paths, like these little blocks, are different wilderness communities, like asteroid clusters that have forests and fields strong enough to be able to provide atmosphere for the surrounding space around them. This green out here, which isn't on these clean paths is the poison sea. And so the poison sea is in Spelljammer, if you have fouled air, like it's going stale, as soon as you breathe it, you have the poison condition until you are able to take a breath of fresh air. So while you're traveling between these asteroid clustered communities, here's a cluster, here's a cluster, here's a big cluster, another cluster is hinted at over here, but these things are, I'm just drawing the ones I think are relevant to the campaign right now. We could always build out another cluster over here and here, and these are the basically the trails, the space between the paths of the moon that wouldn't just be obliterated by the moon coming through. So that's where the bulk of all the matter in space is piling together to create these asteroid fields that can basically be treated in some instances as just like solid surfaces that you can walk across. Other are just loose fields of giant asteroids, like in our community. Zooming in again to the original map that I was showing off here. This is a 10,000 mile square as well, broken up into a 20 by 20 grid of 500 miles apiece. When you can fly 10,000 miles a day, that roughly means you can do 500 miles per hour. So on this closer scale map, when we're traveling from one location to another, we count out how many squares, and that's how many hours it takes. Fighter craft, which are 50 feet or smaller in size, like X-Wings and shit like that, they don't have like interstellar flight onto their own, so they can only fly 1,000 miles per day, which means 2 squares per day. 12-hour shifts equals 1 square. And fighter craft only carry oxygen for 1 day, which isn't a problem. Which isn't really a problem when you're flying out here, but in a normal game, in a normal spelljamming system game, where there is no air filling the space between interstellar objects, then you would run out of air. You would need to have a larger vessel as like a carrier ship to take your fighter craft from one location to another. You could put a major helm on a fighter craft that would allow it to hold air for a full 100 days like the larger vessels do. But it's super cheap to make 50-foot and smaller fighter craft. Like it'd be like around 2,000. Like if you wanted a 50-foot ship made out of metal, it'd be like around 2,000 gold to build the frame, and then another 400 gold for the helm to fly it. So for 2,400 gold, you can make a 50-foot fighter craft. Like the X-Wing, for instance, is 45 feet long. A TIE fighter is 35 feet wide. Just to give you a sense of scale about how much ship you could actually build inside of a 50-foot square. It's a good lot. So that's the basic theme of the campaign, and the team are acting as sheriffs and border patrol guardians to prevent pirates and kaiju and other space monsters from coming into this collective space and eating people, or like sheep, like flocks of sheep that could get eaten by for example, in this illustration here, we have a kaiju cloaker that's attacking this asteroid, basically eating sheep off of the field if the shepherds can't get them to safety before the team isn't able to get there in time to chase them away. So like if the team is back here at position 1, which is Capital Rock is the name of it. Great title. So Capital Rock is 1 to 3 miles away from, this is called Far Hope. So if this cloaker attack, I'd roll a d10, right? So I'm gonna, when the cloaker attacks, I roll a d10, and the result I got is a 6. So it'll take 6 hours for this cloaker to be fed and content off of whatever it deems edible on this asteroid. This asteroid already has a community on it. This cloaker would deal damage to the community, which would mean that in the Bastion system, it would disable different types of facilities based on however many. Like each, there's 5 ranks from level 1, 5, 9, 13, 17. That corresponds to the different ranks of a community or your bastion. And in your community or bastion, you have facilities like a workshop, a smithy, a stable, barracks, blah blah blah. These are all called stables. And with this Bastion system that we've been developing, there's a link to it. Here's the campaign workbench that we're going to be working on today, actually, which is building out the communities that we're going to be working on, and the mecha ships that we have, work in progress. The Dwarven Citadel that we've built, it's a 500-foot giant block of stone carved out by dwarves. The team are dwarves, gnomes, and warforged. are the three assumed species that everyone is using in this playtest campaign. No humans. They're in another society that's a rival to yours. So this group is only dwarves, gnomes, and warforged. So we're flying around in a dwarven carved asteroid that fits inside of a 500-foot space as basically just a giant battering ram that destroys things by bashing its way through it. But it's also littered with ballistas and catapults that can rain siege weapon damage down on ships and monsters as well. But if there's a close quarter combat like involving a village, you don't want a dwarven citadel barreling into a kaiju that's over your village, because if it crashes, it's going to kill a shitload of people in town. So for smaller scale, more intimate experiences, we have our Mecha, which are human-shaped ships that are up to 50 feet in size. When we start the campaign at 5th level, the Mecha will be 50 feet. It'll eventually be able to scale up at 20 feet. I'm sorry, it's 20 feet at 5th level. It'll be 30 feet at 9th level. It'll be 40 feet at 13th level. And then we aren't getting to 17th level, but if we did, we'd have Mecha up to 50 feet in size. So we're building the scaling model that allows us to have more weapons and eldritch machines and arcane cannons and all sorts of weaponry, Gundam style, to start buffing out our Mecha to be able to do bigger and badder damage as we naturally, over the course of a campaign, attract bigger, badder things to take on to fill the power vacuum that we're creating by killing bad things. Bad thing, like level 5 bad thing gets killed, that opens up a larger space where bad thing level 6 can incorporate that. Maybe it breaks it up between like level 4 monsters and level 6 monsters, with the level 5 monsters gone now, so it's naturally starting to escalate upward and filling in the power gap with new threats that'll continue to pose problems to players. That's just basic campaign development. We'll be making a video about like campaign structuring and scaffolding tiers of play from level 1, 5, 9, 13, 17 in a sort of 5-season show that is your game if you play a game from level 1 to 20. Or if you're just planning on doing a shorter run, like from like say level 1 to 9, then you can look at how to structure that into like 2 separate seasons, where you're resolving one thing that leads into a bigger problem that you can then spend the next season resolving, into the next, into the next, into the next. And once you hit 17th to 20th level, you end that campaign and then start a new campaign with level 1 characters that are existing under the premise of what happened in the last campaign. So it's like the what is it? Yellowstone spurred the spin-off TV show 1823. No, was it 1823? And then they had it was 1873, and that spawned the 2 seasons of 1923. So it's had these evolving timelines of what happened to this Yellowstone family, this Kevin Costner thing. It's going through different generations of people in this family as they settled into Montana. And is it Montana? Yeah, I think it's Montana. Anyway, they settled there and then started building up their home, their ranches, the community around them. This sort of style of campaign has that same sort of idea where when you run through your campaign, you retire your current characters, it spawns a new campaign that can run through its own cycle of 5 seasons to then spawn a new show that runs 5 seasons. And typically, I run a show for about 260 hours, which like in 3 or 4 hour blocks of time. That's roughly 15 months of gameplay. So around when I'm really rolling through a campaign, it's basically every 15 months we start over again. So anyway, we're building out a community right now. That's like the quick gist of it. So we're going to be using mostly the Bastion Campaign work in progress right now. This is the document that we've been developing, Bastion Campaigns. All these books are, all these Google docs here. The actual Spelljammer Combat and Exploration is a published PDF now. It's on the DMsGuild. It has a 100% free preview, just like everything else I do. If you think this shit is cool and you want to support me, buy it. You'll get 120 like maps, ship tokens, creature assets, and stuff for Line of Xeraxis, as well as just to expand it out and build your own things, like map templates to build your own wild space systems and random generators, and all that stuff's there for you guys to use, and you get all those additional like playmat options and stuff to use, like ship builders and stuff like that. You get all of that as part of the download packet when you buy it. So if you're interested, thanks a lot for supporting. You can check out all these other books as well. They all have similar cool stuff going on with them. But these are the documents that we're using in this campaign specifically. The campaign workbench that we're working on literally right now. The Spelljammer Combat and Exploration on the DMsGuild is the core mechanics that we're building this campaign around. The Spelljammer subclass work in progress is alternate subclasses that you can use with the Spelljamming 500-foot scale 5e combat system that uses your character's normal action economy in normal 6-second rounds of combat in ships that can fly 10,000 miles per round and be able to, 500 feet in size, like these giant mecha ships that can deal stupid damage. How to control those using the normal 5e action economy of movement, interaction, verbal commands, attack and bonus actions that can convert into attacks plus reactions. The entire system is designed to use that at obviously the 5-foot scale where we're at right now, and then the 50-foot scale for fighter craft, dogfighting and stuff, and then the 500-foot scale for the carrier vessels to be able to lob stupid amounts of siege damage at each other, like Spelljammer was intended, but is using the 5e action economy that we all fell in love with 10 years ago, applied to your ships. So when you spell jam, you're basically wild shaping yourself into that ship as the pilot. You're bound to you're bonded to the chair, and so your essence infuses the entire structure. So when you have like a spider-shaped ship, you can move your limbs like a spider can and move around and make attacks and like do pincer attacks, like bites and stuff like that. But if you have a human-shaped ship and you infuse your essence into it, you're effectively like Escaflowne, or like a fantasy-style Gundam or Robotech. Basically, is what we're looking at. And then we supersize all the kaiju using our scaling mechanics that are also in the Spelljamming book. But that was our focus about 3 weeks ago, I want to say. And so right now we're focusing specifically on the Bastion Campaign document that creates structures and how to create your own like hideout Bastion facility, but also how to structure settlements and nations and entire worlds using the same scaling Bastion system of rank 1 to 5 corresponding with character levels 1 through 20. Again, we get the Bastion points. So the higher rank your Bastion or your community is, the more Bastion points it has. So when a giant kaiju comes around like a cloaker, it does D8 Bastion points of damage. So like if I have, like in this example here, we're looking at Crag Falls as one of the communities that we built out. It's second rank. It has 13 Bastion points. So if a cloaker came and attacked Crag Falls, here's where all the points are devoted to. So if I dealt like say 4 points of damage to the community, I could like completely disable the guild hall and the barracks, or I could take out like 1 point from the smithy, completely disabling it, 1 point out of the storehouse, 1 point out of the guild hall, and 1 point out of the barracks, and all of them would perform like first level characters because they only have one resource allocated to them. So Bastion point equals tiers of play. 1 point is level 1 to 4. 2 points is 5 to 8, 9 to 13, 9 to 12, 13 to 16, and then 17 to 20. So when you're issuing orders to your Bastion, they make an ability check. It's a D20 plus the rank of the Bastion that's carrying out the order. Like if you have a second rank Bastion with like a smithy and a storehouse and like this one here. It's second rank. It's got 13 points to it. This is representing the village as a whole, the community, and these are the type of structures that this community is notable about. Like there's a lot of guild halls, there's a lot of barracks, there's a lot of stables and workshops. It's Crag Falls' primary production is electrum mine and goat pastures. So these are the kind of things that you would expect. It could have all sorts, like you could have a bank and an auction house and stuff like that as well. But those would be like individual, privately held like bastions that they themselves would just basically be a infrastructure administrative portion of like 20 feet plus whatever facility structures you want to add on with the size that they are. So like an auction house in Crag Falls might just be like a 50-foot warehouse that they've converted to be like to have a platform and open space and ways to be able to conduct an auction, so that people could come in, bring in their stuff, and trade it, and like in a weekly swap meet, for instance. That might be the function of that auction house, but it doesn't like actually perform any specific orders for the community as an auction house, unless the players decide to go in and invest their time and effort in developing it to become a new resource available to the community. So if that kaiju comes along and it isn't fought, if we can't fight it off, then like say there was the 6, like we were talking about earlier on, that kaiju comes in here and it has a 6-hour window that is going to deal damage to this place. If the team is at Capital Rock, they're only 3 hours away. They can get there and engage the cloaker in combat, and if they can successfully chase it off, then it won't deal any damage. If the team can't take it down, it'll deal damage to the facility and to the community, disabling a number of its buildings and potentially killing some of its population in the process while feeding. And then it'll either just leave on its own accord, or since the Mecha weren't able to fight it off, maybe in an act of desperation, they'll attempt to drive it away with the actual Dwarven Citadel, which is 500 feet in size. But that is going to be raining siege damage onto the community, onto the settlement, to try to deal damage to the cloaker. It's better to use smaller Mecha to either like chase it off of the rock so it become an open a target in open air, where the Citadel would then be able to start firing volleys of siege weaponry at it to kill it in a space that doesn't threaten the community, or the team just kills it in the scale of the community and does minimal damage. So that's the narrative that we're going with. You need the Mecha because the kaiju that are attacking the village, you start just shooting dozens of like trebuchet stones at this 50-foot kaiju, you're probably just going to destroy a bunch of buildings around the kaiju and maybe not even hit the kaiju. If it can duck and dodge into the buildings, it'll get cover, and then you're going to deal damage to that structure, not the kaiju. So you want Mecha to be able to drop down, which is why they're 20 feet right now, so they can actually drop down to the city level, pull out 20-foot swords and start attacking the monster, trying to minimize the damage that they do to the community that they're engaging these with. Kind of like an Evangelion. If you've seen Neon Genesis Evangelion, when angels attack, they get right into the city, and their cleanup bills and their repair work, it's just astronomical. Like I'd say like a good 10% of the show is spent on them bitching about infrastructure damage and the politics of having to fight monsters in a community. It's great. It's great. I love it. So this is very much inspired by that sort of tone. And hopefully it ends up playing well. So I'm looking forward to it. But right now, the only community that we haven't built out is Capital Rock. And Capital Rock is the capital. It's the only third-ranked community in this cluster. So that means it's the highest rank. It's naturally the capital, Capital Rock. It's the natural capital of this cluster because it has the most resources, the most population, the most development, the most opportunities, and it's capable of gathering resources from these other satellite communities and shipping resources needed to those different locations. And your Dwarven Citadel is not only the sheriff in town, but it's also the merchant caravan, right? So your characters are part of the crew as mecha pilots to defend the Dwarven Citadel from pirates, just as much as the Dwarven Citadel will then go and protect each of these communities as well. So any given time, if a kaiju attacks, like say over here, you could be way up here at Crag Falls, and that's what, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's 4 hours away. So when I roll that D10, if I roll a 4, you're basically going to get there, but they'll have already damaged the facility. They'll have already damaged the town, but you can get vengeance and kill it before it gets away. If I had rolled an 8 on my D10 and you're only 4 hours away, you'll get there before it damages the place. And If you can kill it, then no damage and you've saved the day. If you get there after it's done feeding, it gets away and all you get is a recounting of the story and a bill for damages. So then the community has to rebuild itself using the Bastion mechanics to heal its hit points through construction and repair work orders. Blah, 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 blah. So there you go. That's how that works. So third rank, we're going to build Capital Rock. So we're going to dig into the Bastion campaign itself and start fleshing out the different facilities. We know, hold on, what's the size of this? 14. So we're going to bold and up this to font 14. Thank you. And then we have Capital Rock is position number 1. It is a rank 3. It has a population of 4,175. It's on a rock that is 64 miles in diameter, so it has a spherical gravity. Anything that can fit inside of a 10-mile space is capable of having planar gravity, where it's like a line and you have a top side and a bottom side, like the ships in Spelljammer. But once you exceed 10 miles in size, it's large enough to collapse in on itself. Basically, bow under its own weight, collapse in, and then create a spherical gravity. That's how that idea works. So these things being 64 miles in diameter means that what is that? A circumference of around 200 miles circumference, which would be roughly 4,200 times 200 that's 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros plus 4. That's a 40,000 square mile area on that 64 mile rock. That's a big chunk of land. So shouldn't be any difficulty to have a population of 4,000 and something settle on that rock. There's plenty of space available for growth. It's just a matter of how much population do we have here, how quickly can that grow, and how quickly are monsters going to kill off the current generations before they can be replaced over time. So coincidentally, there's a major cold snap happening here because there's an invasion, a new manifest zone to Frisia, the plane of frozen solitude. Thank you. And that power of that frost zone is so large that it's stretching hundreds of miles. Sorry, each of these squares is 500 miles, and the center of it's probably around where this eye is at. But it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So far, it's expanded out 3,500 miles, or a 7,000 mile diameter. And if it continues to expand, it's going to drop the temperature of the entire settlement, and all the crops everywhere are going to die. We already have crops dying in these smaller communities, and now Capital Rock is being overtaken by this cold snap, killing its supply as well. So they're now very dependent on the food supplies that Scabbard Cove, Far Hope, and what was community number 4 called? Fell Tower. Thank you. Fell Tower, Scabbard Cove, and Far Hope. These are the 3 communities that haven't been affected by the cold snap yet. So one of the potential objectives for the team is to dive into the Frisia Manifest Zone and find what's the source of this cold and can it be stopped. But if they go ahead and drift away from there, they're not defending their home. So any attacks that happen on the community while they're away can't be defended. It'll just there's going to take a bunch of damage. So the team might want to go out to Frisia, but they're going to have to take a lot of safeguards to make sure everything is secure. So if they leave their post for a couple days to go fuck around with ice elementals and stuff, they want to make sure that they have something to come back to after they finish the negotiations. So a lot of potential complications. There's black markets. The Pirates of Lazar are off screen here to the right by 4 days, so they could just drift in over here and start raiding the Electrum and Iron Mine to grab up all that shit and then fly off to Droam, 4,000 miles north of here. So there's a lot of threats that the team is going to deal with, and we're going to have different events that happen each Bastion turn, which is a week. Each month of gameplay will be one Bastion turn where we decide what to do with the community settlements, how they want to develop and keep themselves going in a Civilization 4X style game. And then we have 3 sessions that will be able to build out Kaiju combat, do dungeon delving at the 5-foot scale out of our fighter craft and ships if we want to, and engage in any socio-economical or exploration social challenges that we want in the different communities, depending on what the players' objectives are based on, their character builds. So there should be a lot of like slush time in there. Even if I'm running 3-hour sessions, that's 12 hours of gameplay across 4 weeks. That will allow us to have a variety of different type of gears, like different scales of gameplay at the community level, at the cluster level, the community level, individual buildings if we want, the Spelljammer vessel as a whole as its own bastion, the fighter craft level with Kaiju combat with the Spelljamming ships, and then 5-foot scale our characters out of our mecha, slashy stabby with people in the alleyway, or like delving into a dungeon to clear Umber Hulks out of the Electrum mine that they cracked open a new layer of Kyber that's now spilling out evil that takes the form of gibbering mouthers and like black pudding oozes that are attacking the dwarves that are down there digging up Electrum. So they have to run away and send in a cleaning team. So you guys could then at the 5-foot scale go in and kill all these monsters in basically a cavern running gun, dungeon delve style adventure like normal. So these are the different like community, asteroid, individual buildings, spelljamming, ship, mecha, and then your characters. So there's 6 scales of play happening at the same time inside of this campaign, and we have 3 sessions of 12 hours total to be able to choose like 2 or 3, maybe 4 different scales to operate at any given time. And then we think we'll start seeing a meta start to emerge from the generated campaign that happens in response and reaction to the decisions that the characters make, and the random rolls we get hex crawl style of things that are basically like our community stays in the same place. Things are drifting into our area to attack us, almost as if we were going to different locations in a hex crawl to find things. Instead, things are coming to us because we're in orbit. So things will just come along that we didn't have to deal with last week. We're now in range of a new moon, and there's new things that are in wake of its orbit that are coming into range with us. That's how the Frisia Manifest Zone got dropped on us. The moon of Frisia came by, and it surged with a full moon, and that just created a Manifest Zone. And when Frisia drifted by, the Manifest Zone remained, and we have no idea how long it's going to stay there. It could be a day, it could be permanent. Really don't know. So that's something that the team might want to go explore. Or it might die off on its own. Or Fernia might spawn a Manifest Zone down here, and these 3 communities end up catching fire, and when these 2 things touch each other, that's the front line of the war between the fire and ice elementals, and that's taking place in your neighborhood. So like that's a thing that could happen, right? So just all these different events that could crop up. We're just gonna have random events each turn, and since each turn is 1 month, as a DM, that gives me tons of time to build out all these different scenarios and encounters, and I just gotta chain together, have 4 or 5 encounters planned any given day, because we're only gonna get to like probably 2 or 3 of them before our day is over, before our 3-hour session ends. And then we'll wait till next week and we have a couple more, and I can just keep adding consequences and reactions to the stack of shit that they do. And I should have like a month or 2 lead time to be able to build stuff out, and I'll probably build some of that stuff here online with you guys. So we'll keep an eye out for that, but I digress. Let me get back to work. Bastion points that we're looking at. We are currently building out Capital Rock. So let's get back to that. Capital Rock, it has harvest materials. So what are let's go with harvest materials. And Bastion points equal 24, right? Yeah. So it's a a community can harvest as many resources as it has ranks, plus X. So what would have happened here was there would have been two crop fields to double the amount of crops that they can produce on this asteroid, so they could distribute, like the breadbasket, they could distribute it to the other communities so that everyone has lots of grain, and it has a forest here, a wood forest here, so like we'd be able to harvest fruits and nuts and like just a good wide medley. And there's a bunch of other communities that are raising sheep and ox and stuff like that, or like Scabrous Cove. It has the wild space coral colonies that basically has like coral reef sort of plant life that's all space adapted, like space guppies and space clownfish and space sharks and space squids and all that shit. So they have a thriving space food, wild seafood product that they're harvesting to sell out, to trade with all the other communities. But Capital Rock is the capital because it's where all the food and initially all the wood was coming from until other communities got built out. So Capital Rock is the capital. It has responsibility and governance over all the other communities that are in the cluster. But because of the cold snap that it's just fallen into, it's lost access to one of its 3 resources. And you can see that the wood forest, it has a 3. That means because the colony is 3rd rank, it's operating at 3rd rank capacity with it. They've invested to maximize their forest production. They had maximized their crop field production here and here, but we can see it's been depleted down to 2 currently. It's being fatigued by the cold snap. It's starting to impact the return of the food stores that can be produced. So it's losing political power quickly because people are leaving to go to the southern rocks that haven't been hit by the cold snap yet, and it's causing a shift in population from Capital Rock to Far Hope. Far Hope is only 2nd rank right now with just shy of 1,000 population. But another maybe month or 2 of activity like this in Capital Rock might shed another 200 or 300 people to Far Hope. Far Hope would then also be 3rd rank. So it would have the ability to contest Capital Rock as the new seat of power because it's equal to the maximum rank community, that the maximum rank Bastion in the community. Capital Rock is the capital, it's the highest rank. Now that another community might build to the same rank, it can potentially contest over who actually is in control, who's in control of the community, which could create a Bastion war of sabotage that doesn't hurt people. It's all reputation and politics. So the damage that you're dealing to each other is a social interaction, not a combat interaction. So we would be doing population and political damage to each other. Like you can hire bards and stuff like that to like talk smack about a politician and start dealing political damage to that politician in the form of hit points from, like, say, inspiration and performance checks. And if you have a theater under your control as a Bastion, then you'd be able to add an additional die and deal more damage through your bardic mockery, as it were. So that's not damaging them. You won't kill the politician, but you can end their career by damaging their reputation so bad that no one takes them seriously anymore. That's a different dimension of combat that you could Scooby-Doo your way through, like the first 3 levels of a campaign. If you don't want anyone to get killed, just engage in exploration, investigation, and social combat. And so once the characters can throw off the gloves and actually start fighting each other with weapons, they might have grudges built up from enemies that have defeated them multiple times in social combat, giving them a bad reputation. At this point, the only way they can redeem themselves is if they slit their throat. So by the time they're high enough, like typically around level 3 or 4, that's when I let them to take the gloves off. And they're normally chomping at the bit, tear after something and kill it. So it's a really great way to lead into a campaign. That's a great way to start any season, to have like the first few episodes just be social and exploration, unless you're on a cliffhanger that demands some sort of combat scenario. But especially at low levels, shying away from actual physical combat that can kill somebody, but attacking their reputation or attacking their standing in the community, that's a good way for them to want to muscle their way up to 3rd or 4th level, where they can start resolving some grudges, and that forms the basis for the entire campaign. Boy, I'm on a tangent. Let me try to pull back from that and keep getting to work here with you guys. So we're going to stock our community. We have 24 points to stock our community with. A 3rd rank community can be issued 3 orders, plus it maintains a lifestyle. And these are all ability checks. D20 plus your rank, plus your Bastion die, which is kind of like a Bardic Inspiration die. It replaces, like, characters have the D20 plus stat bonus and proficiency bonus when it's applicable. For a community, instead of a stat bonus, it's your rank from level 1 to 5, or basically like strength 12 to 20. It's kind of the same curve there. And instead of having a proficiency bonus, they have a Bastion die, which is a D4, D6, D8, D10, D12, corresponding with +2, +3, +4, +5, +6 proficiency bonuses at level 1, 5, 9, 13, 17, right? So those all scale together. When you issue an order, like Crag Falls has 2, or it can maintain a lifestyle, and can have 2 additional orders issued to the community as a whole. And inside of that community, you can have unique bastions, like Hunter's Lodge is the seat of power in Crag Falls, and it's just a bunch of huntsmen. It's basically their hunting lodge that's blown out to a full administrative building, and it's 2nd rank, so it can be issued 2 separate orders specifically and maintain a lifestyle for itself. So it's like the community that it's overseeing is harvesting minerals and what is it? Sheep herds. I think they're herding sheep. Yeah, goat. So goat herds and Electromine in Crag Falls. But the Hunter's Lodge, specifically on Crag Falls, is issuing orders to scout, to keep an eye out for trouble and enemies on the horizon, that they need to alert the player characters that there's an incoming threat. Come help us. And they were going to have, and they can't currently, and because their Bastion event was a labor strike, they have one less order they could issue this Bastion turn, and a Bastion turn is a week. So this week of adventure, which in the campaign lasts a month, so the Bastion turn there, this Crag Falls has one less order available because there's a labor strike. Why is there a labor strike? It's Hunter's Lodge, that's in Crag Falls, and Crag Falls is currently running short on food. So they're having a big fit because people are leaving, they're packing up and leaving the community, so there's not as much manpower readily available to issue orders to, and this community is suffering as a result of it. So that's kind of the narrative that folds in there. But Capital Rock can be issued 3 orders plus its lifestyle. So I'm going to grab this, and we're going to drop this down here in our orders. So typically, you can see here on, like, say, Crag Falls, you can see it has a pocket of 3 points. So of the 13 points that Crag Falls has, it's decided to place 3 of them in their pocket, which is basically like, if a kaiju attacks us and deals 3 points of damage, it's going to eat our slush fund, right? It'll destroy our spare resources, but our facilities will still be operating. So it's a way of you basically to, like, give yourself temporary hit points before your facilities actually start taking damage. Kind of like if D&D had hit locations, and like if I hit you in the leg, you can't move as fast. If I hit you in the arm, you can't carry weight with that. You can't use two-handed weapons. You can't use a shield and a sword because I disabled that arm, for instance. I stab you in the eye, you now have penalties to your perception checks. These communities are kind of that same way. If I destroy your barracks, you can't defend yourself. If I destroy your stables, you aren't able to tend to mounts and like work horses and shit. Hold on. My heart is telling me to check myself. There. Let's push that in. Yeah, okay, looks like we're still going. And hey guys, what's going on? Team of 4, glad to have you. Like, subscribe, bell icon. We've picked up some new subscribers this week, and I'm guessing it's because of the artwork that we do in the mornings. But I pick up artwork. I pick up people in the morning from artwork, and I pick up people in the evening for game design like this. So if you want to join the community and just talk shop, here's the link to our Discord, free access. Let us know what brought you to the team, what you're interested in. Happy to talk about it. So we are. Yeah, so a pocket of 3 points, a Bastion with 24 points. Could afford to have a pocket of 4 points. So we're just going to give 4 points right off the bat. And if we find that we need to eat that pocket, we will. But then we're also going to have to maintain a lifestyle. And then we'll have to figure out, so we're going to figure out what our lifestyle is, which will require an ability check, a Bastion check, to determine what the what level of lifestyle we'll be maintaining for the community at this during this Bastion week. And then if we wanted to, we could, so that'd be the order to maintain a lifestyle, and we're not sure what we're going to maintain. And once, like, say if it's a good lifestyle, like if it's a wealthy lifestyle, we might decide to pump 4 points into it to maintain that for like a whole season, for instance. Instead of having to roll each week, we could stabilize it by taking some of our Bastion points and basically tapping them like mana in Magic the Gathering. Tap those Bastion points to sustain that wealthy lifestyle because you've created a stable economy inside your community for a while before you have to roll again. A first rank Bastion can't sustain anything for more than a week at a time, and a Bastion turn is a week, so you don't bother with investing points into your life to sustain a lifestyle, because until you get the second rank, you don't have enough stability to sustain a lifestyle. You're always going to be on the ups and downs because it's a new Bastion. Once you establish enough Bastion points to get the second and higher rank, you can now extend that to a month, to a season, eventually to a year, to be able to keep that level of lifestyle you've developed for your characters and for the hirelings. Or in the case of community, like Crag Falls is maintaining it's got a poor lifestyle right now, which is the bare minimum to be able to keep people from erupting into violence. There's squalid and wretched conditions, which is effectively like a die roll of 5 or 0 on an ability check. So wretched is like there's monsters in the street eating people, get the fuck out. Squalid is, yeah, there's so much crime that buildings are being broken into, and you can't guarantee that there's going to be a city watch there to protect you if they do. Once you get to a poor level lifestyle, it's like, yeah, there's cops here, there's a little bit of crime, but there's cops on duty that'll come deal with it. And then once you get into a modest, comfortable, wealthy, aristocratic lifestyle, the level of security ratchets up. The amount of valuable materials and abundance are in that community. But at the community level, that's just the potential. You can still have a wretched lifestyle inside of a community that maintains an aristocratic lifestyle, because that means that aristocrats the community is capable of providing the appetite of aristocrats. Even though there can be people in a wretched state, the abundance of the community as a whole is capable of keeping the interest of aristocrats, so they will anchor and build resources here. If I'm in a small village, but I'm maintaining a wealthy lifestyle somehow in that village, that becomes a really attractive place for somebody to be. So they're going to see more migration pattern heading in that direction, and each community can acquire population at with a certain die roll. It increases the scale of the people that are importing, and once you get enough population to breach limit on the next community size, the community could gain a rank all into itself and just naturally just gain more Bastion points at the rate of it gaining. Like every 10% of community size gives you another Bastion point. So you can either improve a community by actively pumping wealth to add Bastion points to the community, but it'll still have a low population. So in time, it'll draw more people to balance out the wealth to the population. Or you could have a location that has a ton of people pumped into it, but it's going to take time for the Bastion points to come through to build out the infrastructure for the now unexpectedly large population in that area. So until you have the population and the Bastion points aligned together, the community is in turmoil and it creates conflicts. If you don't have enough Bastion points for the population, there's too many people without jobs, there's no security, it erodes the lifestyle to become potentially squalid or even wretched if it falls into civil war. If you have too many Bastion points and not enough population, there's a ton of resources available, but there's not enough community to really maximize the potential of production that community can do. And this is just a single die roll that walks through how to do all that stuff. It sounds really in depth when I talk about it, but that's what's really great about the system. It's just a die roll. The lifestyle resolves all of that for you. And it's just one die roll that you can make either every Bastion turn, every 4 Bastion turns, every 13 Bastion turns, or every 52 Bastion turns, depending on the rank of the Bastion that your team is operating at. Once you stabilize something, it can remain stable for a longer period of time before you have to roll it again. So the narrative reinforces the structure and stability of the population and the resources available to that population. And it's all contained inside of that ability check that you make as a Bastion. So it's a really robust, flexible system that is incredibly good for narration. I'm really, really proud to be the one that got to dream up this idea and put it on paper. That seems to be why I'm here. To make ideas. So, okay, great. So we're going to look at Capital Rock. We can see that it has crop fields and wood forests. Those are its two major materials that it harvests. So that means that we're going to want to have facilities that complement those activities. So let's drift our way down here into facilities and look at the list of stuff that we have. We know at second rank, all the first and second rank structures can be supported in a second rank community. A third rank settlement or community can support bastions and facilities of third, second, or first rank. Everyone's a little bit different, but you can't exceed. Like if a community like a third rank community has a fourth rank bastion, this community cannot support that bastion. It is outranking the community. So that specific, like the Wizard's Tower is a fourth rank Wizard's Tower with like a 15th level wizard in it doing shit. But the kind of shit that it does can't be handled by Thistlebrook, the village that the tower is located inside of. So for the wizard of that fourth rank tower to get the materials that it needs to perform the experiments worthy of 7th level casting, or 7th level spells, I need to get that material from a 4th rank settlement, which is a city. Like, let's go to Daggerfall or Waterdeep's 5th rank. Like, we can definitely get what we need there. So we have to establish a supply train that'll get materials to us in exchange for goods or payment somehow that gets resolved as part of your lifestyle. The maximum level of lifestyle that you can trade with an external entity is equal to the lifestyle you maintain. So if you need access to 5th rank materials to do your 8th, 9th level spell work in your bastion, you need to have a supply chain that has 5th rank, 5 points. So you have to maintain an aristocratic lifestyle to be attractive, to pull that trade route to you so you don't have to worry about the math. The only math you have to worry about is, did I hit a DC 30 for that aristocratic lifestyle? If I'm 5th level, I probably didn't. So the nice thing about a settlement is if you're in that settlement, you automatically get access to that settlement's rank of resources for your bastion, which is why a settlement of a lower level than your bastion can't provide the materials that you need, because a 3rd rank settlement can only provide 3rd rank materials, which isn't what a 4th or a 5th rank bastion needs to operate at full capability. It can still be a 5th rank bastion in your community, but if it's reliant on the resources inside that settlement, it's going to be capped at 3rd rank. So I have a 5th rank settlement, or I have a 5th rank Wizard's Tower, but it's currently being choked and starved out of the things that it needs to do 5th rank shit. So I can still roll a d20 plus 5 because of the rank of my tower, but I'm not going to be able to roll like a 5 would be like plus D12. But because I'm limited to the settlement that I'm in, it can only be a D8. So the bounded accuracy curve of DCs 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 are very relevant, and depending on what's going on in the campaign, there can be a lot of fluctuation on what kind of dice you're going to roll to see if a bastion or a settlement is capable of carrying out the order that you've issued to it. And if it fails the die roll, a complication occurs, which creates an adventure that once the adventure is resolved, the complication is wiped away, and that complication was preventing you from completing the task that you had issued. So now that the complication has been resolved, you end the bastion turn with having done all of the shit. If you aren't able to complete the adventure, or if there's too many adventures for you to get to right now, then you don't get to complete that order until you get around to resolving the complication. But if you want to keep that order in queue to be resolved, it's going to eat one of your order. You're basically tapping that order. It's like, put a pin in that. But at 3rd rank, we can only have 3 orders issued at a time. Otherwise, we have to start spending bastion points to issue additional orders. So we could have city works. We could have like 10 or 11 projects that are ongoing that haven't been completed yet. And to sustain all of them at the same time, it would require 11 bastion points for 11 ongoing orders. So typically, you're only going to want to have as many orders ongoing as you have orders available to you. And then occasionally toss in a point or two to add on another order. And then once the ongoing order is completed, drop that off your roster and free up that order for another ongoing order. And that's what this is what this pocket of points is for. The pocket, these 4 points, we have 4 orders that we can issue. But if those are all going to be tied up in ongoing activities that could take a couple months to complete, then we're going to want to spend some of our bastion point resources to be able to fire up another team. Hey, while they're working on that, I need you to build me some swords. I just need some fucking swords. Could you please build those for me? Thank you. Thank you. And you just hire them on the side to do that thing. You see? So what we're going to do is we're going to determine 3rd rank. So how many things are in 3rd rank? I know there are 26 facilities between 2nd and 1st rank combined. So it's going to be more than 26. So it's going to start at 26. That's 27. That's 28. 29. 30. So there's 30 facilities total. Let's go with total. And you could always build new facilities if you want to. These are just the ones that we're providing in the book. So 24. So to roll a number between 1 and 24, you roll 5 6-sided dice. That gives you, it's 26. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I did that wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Good. So 26. There's 26 facilities of 1st and 2nd rank. So to do a die roll, it's 5d6, which is 30 minus 4 is 5 minus 4 is 1. 30 minus 4 is 26. So on a range of 1 to 26, the math on that is 5d6 minus 4. Or you can just go to random.org and roll and just type in 1 to 30 or 1 to 26 and hit enter, and it'll give you a random number. But I like actually mathing out because I like rolling dice. I am a DM. I like physically rolling dice. So what we have here is a 30. So how are we going to get a scale of 1 to 30? I think what we could do is D10, D20 plus 2d6 minus 2. That's 3 dice minus 2 is a minimum of 1. And then 32 minus 2 is 30. So I roll a d20 and add 2d6 and then subtract 2, and that'll tell us our facility. So we're gonna roll up some random facilities, but first, let's look through our list of active facilities to see what would make sense for the community of crop fields and wood forests. And those are major commerce hubs, so we'll probably be putting 3 points each into whatever those are. So let's find out what those are. Let's see. Crops means gardens and greenhouses. Gardens. I just know that because I know that, but greenhouses. Greenhouse, garden. If we actually go down into the description of each of these, you'll see what I mean. So a garden, the basic facility benefits of a garden is when you're issuing a harvest order to acquire plant materials, you can roll an additional bastion die equal to the rank of the facility. So a 3rd rank bastion can roll a d8. If I'm going to harvest wood and crops, those are plant materials. So when I go to harvest those to determine the level of quality that I'm able to provide, I'm going to roll my d20 plus 3 because my rank, d8 because Capital Rock is 3rd rank, and because I have a garden and that garden is 3rd rank, I could roll another d8, a second d8, but I'll keep the best result. I don't add the 2 dice together. I keep the best result of all the dice that I roll. So I stay within the curve, the bounded accuracy curve of 10 to 30. You see, like at 5th rank, I'll be rolling a d12, a d10, a d20 plus 5 plus 12. So that's a maximum of 37, which is within the bounded, it goes past DC 30, but 37 from anywhere from an 8, because the minimum is d20 plus a die plus 5. So anywhere from a 7 to 37 is basically the results that I'm going to get. 7 to 37 is the results. So that means that roughly 7 to 37, that's a range of 30. 37 at the top. Basically, I've got only a 25, like at 5th rank, like a 17th level character with this type of an idea would only have a 25% chance of succeeding at that 5th rank task, that legendary magic item, or building the Great Pyramids, or whatever. Moving the entire nation from one continent to another. These are all 5th rank scale tasks. And when you fail the task, it doesn't mean that you can't do it. It means that a complication has occurred. That is an adventure hook that needs to be resolved before, like Moses moving a whole nation of people from Egypt to, wherever they went. Israel, I think, or whatever. That's not accurate. Israel wasn't made until the 1900s. Ethiopia, I guess, is where they actually went to. I'm not sure. I honestly don't know. I'm not a scholar like that. But they left Egypt and they went someplace else. And that would basically be moving an entire people, and they had complications along the way. It's a great story, I guess. Check that out. But that would be an example of complications. And once you resolve the complications, the task automatically resolves. If you had rolled high enough, the task would have resolved without any problems anyway. So the failed die roll isn't you can't do this. The failed die roll is we're going to create obstacles that you as players will overcome, and once you do, it'll automatically resolve. So it's just an excuse to create adventures, just like walking into a hex in the forest and rolling to see what monsters are there is an excuse for adventure in a hex crawl. Hey, what's up? Hey, the Dungeon Minister, what's going on, my guy? Absolutely exists in the ancient world. Okay, thank you for the clarification. The modern state was founded in the 20th century, but there wasn't Israel in the ancient world. I always thought that it was like a spiritual thing, like Israel was a state of mind. But I know for a fact that the Dungeon Minister knows his shit, because I've gamed with him before, and he is a legit theologist. So I thank you for the insight. Thank you very much. So yeah, there you go. Went from Egypt to the nation of Israel. That would be a 5th rank scale of moving an entire nation from one location to another. Right, an entire people. So that would be the task. Hopefully this is jiving. Let's see. So we need garden, we need greenhouse. We could potentially have more than one.
And you can only issue one order to a facility at a time. So like if we had 2 crop fields, that would mean that we would have two different orders that we would have to issue for each of those orders, which would mean we would have to have a separate set of bastion of facilities to follow those through. About this, I know. About most things, not so much. We're all specialists in this first world country we live in. To be a jack of all trades is good for bars, but it doesn't necessarily earn you top dollar. Garden, greenhouse. So the greenhouse, let's look at the greenhouse real quick. The greenhouse also, when issuing the harvest order to acquire plant material, you can roll an additional bastion die equal to the rank of this facility. So now we're rolling 3 8-sided dice, and we're going to keep the best result. That's how we stay within the bounded accuracy. And the DCs, based on rank, bounded accuracy, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. So that's your curve right there. 5 ranks, there's 5 scales. 1st, 5th, 9th, 13th, 17th level characters. Bastions and like the Ravnica guilds and the Strixhaven colleges and the piety of Theros gods in the different MTG settings that have been released. I also rebuilt all those renown systems to work on a scale of 1 to 5 as well, which corresponds with your proficiency bonus gains. So if you're 5th level, you could realistically oversee and have a 2nd rank Bastion support your character at the same level of ability checks that your character is capable of producing. But like I've talked about before, if you're running a real East March style game where you have the players control the Bastion, and then all the characters are hirelings of that Bastion, you can have multiple adventuring teams at different levels to deal with different tier threats that are facing your Bastion. So you could start like the Azorius Senate or like Lorehold. Lorehold in Strixhaven is one of the 5 main colleges. It's an intergalactically known university. Lorehold is a 5th rank college inside of Strixhaven. It has access to all the toys. Its library can teach you up to 9th or even beyond level magic. It has all the facilities that you need, like an arcane study and a scriptorum and a reliquary. All these things are max rank to be able to build or research anything that you could imagine for magic. That is why people go to Strixhaven, to get that power, to get that knowledge available for them to be able to build reality the way that they want to. That's what it's there for. So you have access, so you could have low-level graduate, like you could have like understudies or undergraduates that are like 1st to 13th level or whatever, that have limited access to different facility resources inside Lorehold. You have to earn more college credits to gain your credit / renown / piety to ascend in scholastic acknowledgement to get access to higher rank. Like this library is 5th rank, but all those areas are restricted until you get a badge that says you have access to 3rd tier knowledge. Then you'll be able to get access to 5th and 6th level spells, for instance. That's one way of looking at it. So you could run a Bastion like your 1st level characters are only dealing with 1st rank threats. Your 3rd rank threats are being handled by 9th level characters. Why didn't Gandalf just go and do this thing? Because Gandalf is fucking fighting Sauron, a 5th level threat against a 5th level wizard. He's kind of busy. He doesn't have time for your 1st, 2nd, 3rd rank bullshit. So I'm going to send a 1st, 2nd, 3rd rank team of level 1, 5, 9, whatever. That's where you get that cascade of leadership, having high level NPCs issuing BS low level challenges to characters in that quest giver sort of format. So that's the idea. So gardening and greenhouse, crop fields and wood forests. We know that we're going to want to have a barracks. The way that barracks work in this structure is the rank, the way that population grows. I won't flip to it because it'll take a little time to find it. But a first rank settlement is a hamlet, then a village, a town, city, and metropolis. And the population caps
for the, like, once you pass this population point, you are now moving into the next size community with all the benefits and penalties that go with it. Hamlets cap at 100, villages 1,000, towns 10,000, cities 100,000, and anything with more than 100,000 population becomes a metropolis. So the amount of people that you can have in a barracks at any given time is a tenth of that. A first rank bastion can have up to 100. A first rank bastion can have up to 10 troops in their garrison. Second rank 100, 1,000, 10,000, and then at that point it's how many tens of thousands do you want to carry? Like, I think Waterdeep has 20,000 militia. That would be a perfect example of exceeding what a city can do at the same, in that same scaling 10,000 piece. Hey, what's up? Yeah, there's always that question. Why doesn't the local lord just send his army? Exactly, because they have better things to do. And this actually provides a mechanical, stat-based ability check system that demonstrates what those type of quests are, and it quantifies all of them on a scale of 1 to 5, of character level 1 to 17 plus. So that's what I love. Bastion. I love the Dominion style of play. I do not love how little of it is in 5e. I love the 5e game engine. I think it's the best version of D&D that's ever came out. And 5e24 is even better. But I do not like Bastions in the DMG because it did not embrace this idea of Dominion style play. What it did was it gave you a cozy corner that you could draw a map and then cosplay as hirelings with each other as your own side gig as a player to do something creative with your campaign for the week or 5 that you aren't playing. Just like the DM gets to build all these things but doesn't actually get to share it with you until the game session is going. The way that they built Bastions was to give you basically passive magic items in a very limited set that you could have, NPCs that you could narrate and roleplay, and floor plans that you could draw. That's basically what the Bastion is supposed to do. I personally think they went that fashion because they were going to use Project Failure, or whatever it was called. They were going to use Project Fail to sell observatory gear inventory for that room, or like buy our barracks inventory for this room. What's the size of your barracks? Oh, it's vast. Great. Here's 64 squares worth of barracks stuff that you can buy for $5. I think that's probably where they wanted to go before they realized that they actually had to build all those assets, and they just shuttered the whole thing. So they introduced, like, they opened the door to this Dominion style of play, but they didn't use the 5e game engine to do it. They created these cool ideas like these orders and facilities, but what I do is I build scaling systems. That's what I do. My Magic the Gathering color mana system, my Spelljammer mechanics, my spellcast, my Theurgy ability check casting, the martial power system that we've been developing, and this Bastion campaign all is working on scaling on this 1 to 5 tier inside of the 5e game engine. So I shit on Wizards a lot because the 5e game engine does so much more than they seem brave to do with it. Like, they're trying to be the milk toast of RPGs because they're the 800-pound gorilla in the room. They have to be bland, but I wish they would invest resources into looking at how their own system, their own game engine that they built, scales so elegantly from level 1 to 20 in those 5 ranks. So anyway, I'm rambling. Forgive me. Let's see. So barracks are necessary, greenhouse is necessary, garden is necessary. The actual government facilities, that's actually controlled by a bastion inside. Like, a settlement is a facility of a bastion that has the administrative capability of governing land. So land surrounding your castle is an extension of your bastion. It is a facility, and a 5th rank settlement that is governed by a 5th rank fortress, bastion, abbey, whatever, that could be like 200 miles in diameter or larger. A hamlet is roughly 10 miles diameter. So, like, it scales up in size And inside of that settlement, you're basically, your bastion with that settlement is creating a stable lifestyle and resource center for other people to put bastions and communities and homes inside of your settlement. And if you try to, like, if another bastion tries to create a government that would then rival and take control of the settlement, that's basically a coup or a political battle, like elections and stuff like that. They each have to have their own bastion of political platform. Like, your political platform becomes your bastion, and your enemy politicians are attacking your platform to try to erode it with that social combat we were talking about early, to debunk the relevance of your political platform so that you lose. And so the one that remains strongest in the end becomes the de facto leadership of that settlement, having performed the coup. And if you don't rout the rivals and destroy them, or if there's not an agreement, like, you can't pick a political fight with me until the elections 4 years from now or whatever. That's how you can create different government systems. Democracy would have a rule that you can't engage in social combat through political platforms until it's the election cycle. Or rather, any kind of barbs and darts that you're throwing at each other don't affect leadership until the election, unless you're actually having a war coup where you're literally killing people. That's different. Then you're killing your political rivals, which is basically a different type of politics. What do they call that? Tyrants. That would be a tyranny. So a tyranny can have a new leader anytime a coup is successful, and that coup sabotage is going to be blood. There is no peaceful coup in a tyranny. There is no agreement to hand over the reins of power through democratic warfare. It is bloodshed. So when you kill your rival, you can become the boss until somebody kills you. So that's a different that's a more traditional D&D battle. But both of these things work the same way. It's just a matter of how are you framing it, which is one of the real benefits of the Dominion style of play operating inside the 5e game engine. It all still works the same. Your vicious mockery is going to be dealing damage to the political platform or the government base that is overseeing this community. And if you can drive them down to zero, they're not going to be able to effectively govern anymore because they've lost, like, the public has lost confidence in them. That destabilizes the government, and now there is no lifestyle being maintained anymore because you overthrew the government. So it all gets thrown into a squalid or wretched lifestyle where there's rioting on the streets, monsters can just wander in and eat people. It's a nightmare until somebody can restore order. So that is a major tangent. Sorry. Barracks. Right. So a third rank barrack can have up to a population of, 10, 100, up to 1,000 people. So Capital Rock, with a population of 4,000 some, could potentially have a barracks with basically 1,000. It is, if it was a military town, military based, it would potentially have a troop of 1,000. Like, all you gotta do is throw a stone. You're gonna hit a reservist or an active military. So I actually think that's a little bit too It's up to 1,000. If it's only second rank, it's only up to 100. And one military per 40 people in this sort of environment, I think that's too thin. So we're going to put a cap on it. We're actually going to put it. We're going to do 1/10 the population, I think, is the tempo that we've basically been setting. 400 active. We'll go 400 reserve. So it'll have up to 800 potential. It has 400 activating times, but then the reserve is you rotate people in occasionally. So that operates within so as a community, it's not like one building that has 400 people in it. It would be more like over here there's 50, and that F troop over there has 50, and this block has 50. So like these different areas have these strong points, or like cities, like civil centers inside of the settlements that operate as 400. Like it could have a population of up to 800. So there'd probably be like maybe 8 facilities that could accommodate 100 people each that are scattered around the community, like at different lookout towers, which at the top of them would have ballista and turrets and catapults and stuff like that to repel kaiju attacks. So that's 9 points out of the 24. That's 4 points in our pocket so far. That's 13 points that are allocated. So let's do that. This is technically all we really need inside. Like, these are all the official buildings that we need to make the place go. So that's 13 points. We still have 9 left. We're now going to randomly roll different facilities to help shape some of the interesting points and nuances in the community. So like we had before, I'm going to roll a d20 plus 2d6. I'm going to roll those. I'm going to subtract 2, and we're going to go down the chart to see what we get. I rolled a 16. So we'll go, let's go with, actually, let's do it this way. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. Number 4, number 3, number 2, number 1. See, 5th rank has access to all the toys from level 1, from rank 1 to 5. So it gets access to all this. If anyone's wondering, there are a number of cool facilities that are in Forge of the Artificer. If you check my last session from last week, episode number 12 in this series, we went through and converted all of those facilities into this format that we're using here, this scaling 1 to 5 system. I'm going to take a sip of water and check the time. It's 8 o'clock. We'll see if we can get this done in the next hour. If I run long, I've been running along a lot lately, so I don't mind. Let's see. Okay, so we're at number 3, which is there's 30 of them. I'm just going to go through here real quick and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. This is better to do it this way initially. It'll make everything so much faster going forward. 25, 26. Oh my God, teleportation circle. 27, 28, 29, 30. There we go. And I rolled a 16. 16 is observatory. Nice. So an observatory doesn't cost 3 points. It just means you get access to it once you have a 3rd rank bastion, settlement, blah, blah, blah. But you still have to invest set points into it to get it to 3rd or 5th rank. So like a 1st rank, I'll show you what it looks like. First off, let's look at, say, 2nd rank. Observatory. Even though I am 3rd rank, I don't have to have more than 1st rank in a facility. It'll limit its capabilities, but I only have 24 points to spend. That means I could have like 8 facilities at 3rd rank, or I can have 24 facilities all at 1st rank, or somewhere in between. We can hold on to this pocket. We also spend Bastion points for additional orders. We only get 3 orders normally, but if we spend an extra point, we can get another order. And we could get multiple orders as long as only one facility is being issued an order each turn. Now, the exception to that is the harvest order can automatically be, you can automatically, sorry, not automatically, you have to spend orders to harvest materials, but you can issue the same harvest order multiple times to yield greater results, just like you would normally by issuing extra orders, but you don't have to spend any extra points or assign them to a specific bastion to be able to do 3 orders of harvesting. But if you spent extra points, you could get additional orders to harvest more materials, especially like if you have some sort of penalty, like right now where we're at, this cold snap here, this zone here is freezing weather that's killing all the crops in these communities. So they may decide we need to issue additional orders to punch up the amount of crop yield that we're getting right now to try to overclock our effort to get everything possible, because we're at disadvantage right now. We need it. So that could be a way we end up spending our points. I don't know if we'll need to or not, but that's one of the things. If we wanted to maintain like a wealthy lifestyle, if we rolled a 25 for our lifestyle, we got a wealthy lifestyle, it cost 4 points for us to be able to maintain that, because you got poor, modest, comfortable, wealthy, and aristocratic. So if we got to a wealthy lifestyle, 4th rank lifestyle, it'll cost us 4 Bastion points to sustain that wealthy lifestyle for the maximum duration possible. And for a 3rd rank community, I think it's only for a month. So, but each Bastion turn is 1 week. So that's 4 Bastion turns. We only have to make 1 roll every 4 Bastion turns. So if we can lock down a wealthy lifestyle, we're good for another month. And hopefully we can build in some more resources and get some more stuff to help stabilize that for a longer period of time. But that's part of the challenge of the 4X Dominion style game system that we're building. So we got our observatory. That takes us down to 11. Let's real quick look at what an observatory is, just so you have a reference for like why might we want 2nd or 3rd rank. So what does an observatory do? First off, the facility can cast the Scry spell once per day. Even though a Bastion turn is a week, a lot of this stuff operates at the day level, so that if a character is spending downtime activity operating the facility, then we could issue orders, or we could cast a Scry spell once per day. If the target is a creature familiar to the Bastion, they don't need to be on the same plane of existence. This benefit can be used more often by expending a Bastion point with each additional use. So once per day, you get a free casting. But if I've got a pocket of 4 Bastion points, I get an extra 4 castings of the Scry spell through this observatory, and then I won't get those Bastion points back until the end of the week when my full rest. Like if you're running a gritty realism system, I recommend that for the Bastion campaign, because a Bastion turn is 1 week, and in gritty realism, a long rest is also 1 week. So every long rest, your team is going out, adventuring stuff, and then coming back and then recuperating at the Bastion. Or you could spend a week of downtime activity in your Bastion doing something unique. And in this instance, that would be Astrological Arcana. A character that spends a Bastion turn of downtime activity using this facility gains the benefit of an Arcane Charm. And the Arcane Charm in the 2024 DMG is basically any wizard or sorcerer or bard spell. Basically, it's normally wizard. Any wizard spell that your any available spell can be used by that character, like a barbarian that even while raging would be able to use their charm because they aren't casting the spell, they're not using any material components, and they don't have to have any exotic materials. That's all taken care of for you. It's just activate, and it gets activated. Now that spell is in effect. So like if everybody wanted to have, like, say, a Dimension Door spell, like if you were going to do a heist mission and you got 5 people on your team and you took downtime activity in, like, So it's 0. Its first rank is 0, 1 level spell. Second rank is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So our third rank Bastion facility, like if we only have a second rank observatory, it would only be able to cast up to 0, 1, 2, 3, up to third level spells. If I had a third rank observatory, I would then have I could then, as a, say, fourth or fifth level spell, like Dimension Door. A third rank facility with an observatory, I could take downtime activity to become charmed with a Dimension Door spell, and my entire team could have one casting of a Dimension Door each, which would allow us to teleport to whatever the MacGuffin is that we're trying to get to, and then find our way out. So we skipped all the way in, or you could fight your way into the MacGuffin, get it, and then D-door out to be able to quickly egress from it. Or fifth level, teleportation circle, you'd have to draw out one. That might take time. The DM might not allow a teleportation circle to be a charm because you have to actually physically create the circle. That kind of prevents it from being a reasonable charm. So typically it's going to be either a reaction, bonus action, or magic action spell casting to be infused into an arcane charm. But like if you had like a divine charm at 5th level, everyone could have raise dead. So if the cleric dies, someone else could raise the cleric, who would then be able to raise everybody else with their spell slots. So it's a really useful utility to have. And then one of the orders that you can issue is the research order, which is the DMG has 7 orders that you can issue. Research is one of them. You can issue a research order unique to this facility to observe constellations and the interactions between the gods or otherworldly patrons to discover information regarding another plane of existence or its denizens as detailed in the issuing unique order section below. Like a pub can research people, places, and things in your community. Spies can research persons, places, and things that may pose threats to the bastion or settlement that you're in, and to counter espionage or to sabotage threats against your community. But the observatory specifically can detect it, can find out information about things from another dimension or another plane of existence, for example. Like an arcane study or a library or an archive, all three of not the arcane study, that's making stuff. Libraries and archives, they can also research stuff, but but you have to determine there's a chance that it doesn't have information about the topic that you want. So when you gain a rank, you can then import more material to expand the library or expand the archives, and then maybe you have the material that you need, or you have to go to a different library and archive in another community that would be sufficient rank to be able to know that material. Like if you want to know Beelzebub's true name, a prince of hell, you're going to have to roll, that's a 5th rank task. You're going to have to roll a DC 30, and if you fail, you created a complication. That complication is probably being turned into an Alp, or Alps arrive to attack you and cause the mind bending. So that's how an observatory works. So as a DM, do I want to give them access to 3rd rank, a 3rd rank observatory, or do I want to throttle that back? Because the team could spend a Bastion turn at this observatory to pick up those charms, so that when the next Bastion turn, when they're in rotation fighting kaiju and shit, they could whatever spell it is they juice themselves with, they could use in combat with those kaiju. So I'm thinking right now I'm going to throttle it back to 2nd rank as I have it here. And that way the team has a reason to invest energy and pay attention to Capital Rock, because it has a resource they might want to advance. We're going to go with 0. Teleportation circle. And inactive, no hirelings. So in this narration, it has Capital Rock has access. It's the only 3rd rank community in this asteroid cluster, so it's the only one that would be able to have access to this sort of facility. Let's look at what the teleportation circle can do. When issuing a recruit order to acquire new allies, sidekicks, and specialists,
you can roll an additional Bastion die equal to the rank of the facility. And then the unique facility benefits is the facility can cast a teleport spell once per day and roll an additional event each Bastion turn. Let's go with you can cast this spell again. You can cast additional. You can expend Bastion points. You can expend a Bastion point to cast the spell again during the same day. So if I spend 4 Bastion points, I could teleport 5 times that day, and I'll always be able to teleport once per day. To cast the teleport spell once per day, targeting a destination, where another teleportation circle is located. Period. So we'll have to establish trade route. The reason it's down right now is the reason that we're using is we don't have any hirelings that are capable of operating the teleportation circle. We had somebody put a teleportation circle in, but then they disappeared. Did they actually disappear? They've gone missing. Hirelings have gone missing. So we can't make the teleportation work again until we can find either replace them or find the missing hirelings that operate the teleportation circle. This is Eberron, so that probably means they were Lyrand or Dragonmark house that were in our community, and now they're gone. We don't know where they went. A couple weeks ago, we rolled up a subplot line where there's a night hag stealing people from communities for an Illithid slaver on an Illithid nautiloid ship that's in basically just outside of orbit in the Poison Sea, outside of normal clean air routes. So you're not catching sight of it, but it's out there. And there are rumors of people disappearing when they go to sleep and they wake up, they're not there anymore. There's been multiple instances of like over a dozen now across the different communities that they've had people disappearing. Like they go to bed and wake up, they're gone, and there's no sign of them. So the night hag is plane shifting them away and taking them to the Illithid. But I can tell you that chances, even if you were to decide to play in this campaign with me, do you feel like you're ready to take on Mind Flayers in the Poison Sea where you're at disadvantage on literally everything to try to rescue people? Do you know how to find them? There's 5 kaiju attacking your community right now. You don't have time for this. Get back to work. But you'll eventually be able to carve out space to know that these things are disappearing. I don't mind tilting my hand like that as a DM. I know it's a lot of fun to have mysteries and stuff revealed to you, but I'm sure we're going to have plenty of reveals. I am actively recruiting for this. If you're interested, join my Discord server. It'll either be Saturday morning or Monday night like this. I do game design on Saturday mornings, Monday nights, and Thursday nights. But when that campaign becomes active, either Monday or Saturday will go away. And we'll always have Thursday, but Monday or Saturday could go away, depending on how the team paces out. So if you're interested, join my Discord server, link down below, and tell me what day of the week would you rather play? Saturday mornings? I can provide more details, but join my server and stick around. I'll provide notifications about that shit. So 9 points there. That's... what is that? 3, 6, 9, 11, 15. So we're down to 9 points now. Is that right? 3, 6, 9, 11, 15 out of 20. So there's 9 points left. Yes. Actually, let's let's push that to there. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to put this pocket at 8.
So that's 3, 6, 9, 11, 19. So that leaves me with 5 points open. And once we find out what our lifestyle is, we'll drop points into that lifestyle to try to sustain it for as long as possible. So we have 5 points left. Let's see, how do we want to spend those? Let's randomly roll them. 2d6 plus d20 minus 2. 5 points. 15. I rolled a 15. So what does a 15 score me? That's a menagerie. A menagerie is like a zoo. So the basic benefits is when you harvest order to acquire animal materials, you can roll an additional Bastion die equal to the rank of that facility. So if I'm harvesting animals, and we aren't actually harvesting animals in Capital Rock. We're doing that in other communities like Glenfall and Clag Falls and Glenrock and stuff like that. But we get downtime activities, resistance training. A character that spends a Bastion turn of downtime activity using this facility gains resistance to one type of damage appropriate to one of the creatures recruited here. So like if we had rams, like stag rams in our menagerie, then we could gain resistance to bludgeoning damage. If we had a unicorn in our menagerie, we could get resistance to piercing damage. A magman in the menagerie we could use to get resistance to fire damage. So you could find a creature that offers the type of damage you're interested in, get it into your menagerie, and then spend downtime with it, fighting with it and wrestling with it and whatever, to become resistant to the type of damage that it deals. And that's your week of Bastion. Then you have the recruiting order. You can issue the recruit order to attract a local creature to act as a hireling that can also accompany your characters on adventures as an adept, expert, or warrior sidekick. So basically using the Xanathar's guide. I think it was Xanathar's guide, or was it Tasha? Maybe it was Tasha's guide that had sidekicks in them, the adept, expert, and warrior. Any NPC, any creature that's intelligent or NPC can be converted into a sidekick, because a CR that exceeds your character isn't going to be interested in adventuring with you. You can't convince them to do it. But, like, say, 5th level characters could potentially recruit a centaur to be either an expert, adept, or warrior to accompany the team as a sidekick using those rules. And when you're not actually out adventuring, that centaur becomes part of your base of hirelings inside of your facilities. So that's what Menagerie does. It's animal focused, so apparently we have a menagerie. So let's just put 1 point towards that, and that means that the CR of the creature is corresponds to the rank. So up to CR 1, up to CR 5, 9, 13, and anything that's above CR 13 is considered 5th rank in this system. So we could have, like, say, a Flumph. For example, we could have Flumph in our menagerie, which means that we could recruit Flumph to become allies. Like maybe they want to pilot our spelljamming ship because they can pilot spelljammers. Why not? So we'll go with menagerie. Menagerie. That leaves us with 4 points. 8, 9, 10, 11, 14, 17, 20. Oof, is that right? 3, 6, 9, 11, 12, 16, 24. Yeah, we have 4 points left. So let's see how these parse out. Well, let's roll up another one. That's what we do. We just keep rolling. -2. That's going to be a 13. A library. Cool. Let's put 2 points into that. Library. Library lets us research stuff, as well as build, like, scrolls and some other types of magic items. And that leaves us with 2 points left. So let's see how that one susses out. 19. A 19 is a sanctuary. Let's look at the Sanctuary. This one, Sanctuaries are interesting. Downtime activity, Nature's Blessing. A character that spends a Bastion turn of downtime activity using this facility gains the benefit of a Druidic charm. The Observatory gave us an Arcane charm. This one gives us a Druidic charm. And what is it? I don't remember which one, but there's another one that gives us Divine. Maybe it's the Reliquary, I think. So 2 specific orders in the Sanctuary. Craft, you can issue the craft order to create a non-magical item up to the value listed for the rank of the facility. We have the back of the book here. We have the list of everything in the player's handbook. A galley ship, a horse or a camel, torch, parchment, tools. All the things that have a price value in the player's handbook are broken down into their magic items on a scale of 1 to 5. Common, uncommon, rare, very rare, legendary have a price point. Up to 100 gold, up to 400 gold, up to 4,000 gold, up to 40,000 gold, 200,000 or even more for those 5 tiers of magic items, which means that a first rank Bastion can create common magic items or any mundane item up to 100 gold pieces in value without any real difficulty. It could try to create something of 400 value, but it could only create it. It would take 4 weeks to make that thing. Like full plate armor is 1,200 gold, I think. Maybe it's 1,500. Full plate armor is 1,500 gold. A first rank smithy or armory could create that set of armor. The difficulty would be 20, so you'd have to roll a DC 20, and it's going to take 4 Bastion turns to finish 1 suit. If you have both the armory and the smithy both working on the same thing, you've just tied up 2 orders, but it will reduce the timeline down to, instead of 15 weeks, it would be 8 weeks. But if either one of them have a complication, then progress is halted until it gets resolved. If both of them have a complication, meaning that they couldn't hit the DC 20 on their die roll, and there are no rerolls, you get extra dice to help ramp it up. That D20 could fuck you anytime. Like if I roll a 1 on that D20 and I have a DC 20 task, I'm not going to hit it. It's impossible. So even a 5th rank organization with D20 plus 5 plus even like 6 12-sided dice keep the best. If I roll a 1 on that D20, I cannot hit a DC 20 because my cap is, 5 plus 1 plus 12, that's 6, that's 18. Yeah, the best I could do is a DC 18. So I can't, a 5th rank organization, like a world-spanning guild, could fuck up a 3rd rank task. So anyone can have, and again, complications don't ruin it. Complication means you have to solve this problem and then it can complete. But those 2 facilities spending 8 weeks on building 1 set of full plate armor for whoever, your character, whatever, who cares. But both of them could trigger complications, and all the complications have to be cleared before the task can resolve. And it just resolves it for 1 week because it's outscaling the amount of gold it can produce. A 3rd rank facility that could produce 4,000 gold worth of content would potentially be able to get that done inside of 1 single week if you roll well. So as you scale up, you can produce things faster and of greater value. It's a really elegant, effective system. So that's what this details here. I'm actually really proud of this one. I'm more proud of this one than I am in the Spelljammer book. For anyone that's been around to know what that means, this is by far my favorite thing I've ever built for 5e because I love the Bastions. I love Dominion style of play. I absolutely adore Dominion games. So fucking fun, and I'm thrilled to have been able to build one for the 5e game engine. So this is linked down below. It's read only, but you can read it. And if you want to join my Discord and you want to use it in your campaign, God bless you. I will support you and give you everything that you need and hopefully get some really good constructive feedback on how to make it more player friendly. So I'm going to roll another facility. 9. I got a 9. Yet. So let's see what it is. 9. Government. Settlements don't have governments. A government has a settlement, so we're gonna re-roll that. 13. Another library. I did not anticipate that. Let's ramp that library up to 3 then. And one more roll. See what this is. Another 9? Another government. Okay, that's not going to work. Let's skip that. 5. Barracks. We already have barracks, and it's already... Okay. Are we going to double down on the barracks and double up to potentially 1,600? The dice say yes. Okay, so that means that our barracks has... Oh, that's 3rd rank. We only have 1 point left. Do we want to? Should we trim? I'm asking. I'm doing Oracle dice. I ask yes or no. The first die sets the difficulty of success. So yes equals success. So like, am I gonna have a cheeseburger? I'll roll my first die and say I got a 2. That means if 2 or above on this die, the answer is yes. So when I roll my dice and say, should I take points out of my pocket to fund a 3rd rank barracks, I rolled a 4 and a 3. So the question was 4 and the answer was 3. So that means I have to roll 4 better for a yes, and this is a 3, so the answer is no. So I'm not going to have a 3rd rank. Am I going to have a 2nd rank barracks? 5 and 5. So that says yes. I will have a 2nd rank barrack. I'm going to reduce my pocket down to 7. I'm going to have a 2nd barracks. And can have a maximum population 100 max active. You can have multiple bastions. You can have multiple of the same type of facility in a bastion or a settlement, and each facility can only carry out 1 order each bastion turn. So if I had, like, say, multiple observatory things that I wanted to do at the same time, downtime activity doesn't count towards orders. None of those things get in the way of each other. So I can issue orders to my observatory while my characters are also using downtime to acquire an arcane charm. These work parallel to each other. What's the word I'm looking for right now? Right, but if I was like issuing the order to research like Tartarus, for example, if I also wanted to observe the Rock of Brawl, I would have to have a 2nd observatory to issue an additional order to, because the current observatory is busy. Normally that's not a problem, because like our 3rd rank facility has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different things that it could be issuing orders to do if we wanted to. So we're hardly ever wanting for tasks. I'm sorry, for facility. We always have more facilities than orders to do stuff. But if we need more orders and we have the facilities to do them, we can spend Bastion points from our pocket to purchase additional orders by expending those resources. And again, we get those back at the beginning of the next Bastion turn. So finally, we can get the lifestyle. None of these facilities gives us extra dice for lifestyle. So that means we're going to be rolling a d20 plus 3 plus a d8 to determine the level of lifestyle. And again, it's poor, modest, comfortable, wealthy, and aristocratic. And we can maintain it as a town. We can maintain it for 1 month. So I'm going to roll the d20. I'm going to roll a d8. And we're going to see, what do we get? plus 3. I got a 9. Plus 3 is 12. Plus 3 is 15. So I have a modest lifestyle right now. That's worth 2 points. And once we get to the end of the 4 turns, hold on, let's roll a d4 to see how many turns are left. There's 3 turns left. So after 3 turns, we're going that next 4th turn, we're going to roll over and we'll have to roll again. And if the lifestyle improves, cool. Go ahead and maintain that for a month by spending, if we upgrade it to like comfortable, it'd be 3 points. So great, you now have a comfortable lifestyle. Go ahead and upgrade yourself to 3. The community can now maintain a comfortable lifestyle. Right now, the community can only maintain a modest lifestyle because of the cold snap, resources draining, going to other locations. There's massive civil disrupt right now. When you make a lifestyle check and the lifestyle decreases, you get a complication equal to the number of ranks that it drops. So if you had an aristocratic lifestyle with a DC 30 at 5th rank and it drops all the way down to modest rank 2, you just created 3 complications that need to be resolved before you can improve your lifestyle. So big drops like that suck. So spending points to maintain it for as long as possible to stave off civil unrest, it's kind of like booms, like all of a sudden spiking into an aristocratic lifestyle when you don't really have a lot of history of that. Chances are you're going to crash it. So enjoy it while it lasts. The bubble will burst and it will crash your economy, and you'll have potentially multiple complications that have to be resolved over time to be able to restore the strength of the community. You see? Or for them just to get used to being poor again. Maintain lifestyle, modest. Result DC is 15. 15 out of 15. 3 points. To maintain, 2 points to maintain. And there we go. We have it allocated up here. So that's going to drop our pocket down to 5. That's a good pocket. It's going to be able to take some damage. We can issue some additional orders when necessary. I like how that's sitting. Let's see. We have harvest, wood, harvest plant materials, lumber, harvest, plant materials, crops. And do we have a 3rd order issued for crop production, or let's roll the dice? No. Did we? But we have a complication. Yes. Okay. So harvest, plant, materials, crops, complication. We already know we're inside of a cold snap, so that could be affecting. That could be complicating getting supply, producing crops. But let's go to our complications table. So the way that we roll a complication is first we have a Bastion event to help frame the dialogue or like the narrative around what your complication may be, and that's just a raw d20. And I rolled a 14. So this is a settlement. Contracted specialist settlement. Foreign merchants offer to create or improve storehouses in exchange for establishing a trade route with their homeland. Oh, I really like that. Okay, we're going to grab that. We're going to go up here. We're going to go down here. And like that. We'll build that out for next time. Events. You don't need to roll an event unless the team gets in, unless the players get involved with it. Me as a DM, I can roll events for as many communities that I want, and I can keep track of what's some of the shit that's going on in that community. That allows me to improvise encounters and adventures for the players to screw around with. And since each Bastion turn is a week, and the way that we're structuring the campaign is that each Bastion turn will take 4 game sessions, we're basically processing 1 Bastion turn each month. What the Bastions and the settlements are doing on the DM side, and then on the player side is the kaiju battles, the Spelljammer stuff, and the mind delving, and fighting organized crime, and fighting off the pirates, and hunting for the night hag, and all this other, all the stuff that players do. They'll have 4 sessions to do as much stuff as they want. Well, they'll have 3 sessions to do as much as they want, and then the 4th session is going to be the Bastion turn upkeep for all the things that the players want to be involved in. If they don't give a shit about Capital Rock, then me as the DM, I have a whole month to figure out what kind of stuff is going on there. I can just take notes of it, and then roll a couple more Bastion turns, like roll some events and complications and stuff, to have them loaded up in case the players decide that they want to get involved. I'll have this little roster of, here's all the stuff that's happening in Capital Rock, here's the stuff that's happening in Fell Tower, here's the stuff that's happening in Crag Falls, Scaver Cove, all these different places. So if kaiju show up at a location and, like, say attacks Scaver Cove, and the team has to go there to fight off the kaiju to prevent the community from being damaged, they're already there. They might ask, hey, what's going on in Scaver Cove right now? We just saved this place. Or maybe, like, Scaver Cove's been damaged. We need to spend some time here overseeing it to make sure it stays safe. What's going on there? I can have a special event happening with each of them. So in this circumstance, we have the settlement foreign merchants. Okay, so this is event, and then we'll do in parentheses settlement. Foreign merchant offers to create improved storehouse in exchange for establishing a trade route with their homeland. So we don't have a Stormhouse facility in Capital Rock currently, apparently. So we need one. So it's very fortunate that this merchant came by and is like, yeah, I will build that for you with my own resource. I'm going to build a bastion inside your community, and some of the facilities I'm guaranteeing will be a storehouse. And just for you letting me do that, I want to establish a trade route with you. We already know that we need to establish a trade route. Here's where we're located. Here's the Pirates of Lazar. And here's a friendly community. We don't know anything about this friendly community yet, but we know that we want to have trade with them because we're running out of fucking food. So these guys are like, tell you what, we'll help hook you up with food, but we want to control the storehouse. We want to control the shipment of it. So if you allow us to expand our territory with you, we can now start having commerce. And all that commerce and all that shit just gets resolved with your lifestyle roll. So like if like the modest lifestyle that we have right now in Capital Rock, once this gets built, next turn we're already sustaining for the next 3 turns that modest lifestyle. At worst, we'll have a modest lifestyle, but every turn I could choose to issue a new order to try to improve the lifestyle. And with a storehouse inside of our facilities, let's see what a storehouse might do for us. That would be advantageous. So let's scroll down here to storehouse. When issuing a craft order to create non-magical items, you can roll an additional Bastion die equal to the rank of the facility, so that helps with building stuff. When issuing a harvest order to acquire any type of materials, you can roll an additional Bastion die equal to the rank of the facility. So now when we're harvesting food, we're not rolling 2d8, we're rolling 3d8 and keeping the best result. And then the general order is trade. You can issue a basic trade order to have any type of materials, non-magical items, or plans for item creation delivered to the Bastion. So once we have a storehold in place, we can communicate with our trade guild, the trade organization that we're creating here, and like say we need more food resources. We need more grain delivered to us, right? That might be the logical conclusion of what's going on here. Like send us food. We're falling short on food. And now they would establish for us food. We would make a die roll to establish that trade route. And once we do, that is another pocket of Bastion points that we could then hold and reserve to create that stabilized food delivery coming to us, so that our community has enough food from this other location, even though we're inside this nasty cold snap that's preventing us from being able to grow crops the way that we need to. Once the cold snap is resolved, we might be able to drop that trade route and free up those Bastion points to be able to devote them and invest them someplace else. But while we need them, again, we're only maintaining, we're only maintaining second rank for crop fields right now, but we have a third rank population. So we are not producing enough food for the population. It's creating complications. So there we go. So now we have this foreign merchant investor. We know this plant material crops complication came from crops falling short because of the cold snap. So now let's look and see what our complication actually is. We know that the event that's theming complications this week is this foreign organization that wants to set up shop and do trade with us. But what's the actual complication? The actual complication is going to come from the harvest order. So there's 20 events that create themes and a motif for you to frame events and complications inside of. And the complication itself, there's 7 orders in the Bastion system. There's craft, empower, harvest, maintain, recruits, research, and trade. So we always issue the maintain order to sustain a lifestyle. And if we have a complication, it'll come from this list. But right now, the complication that we have is for harvesting plant materials. So here's the harvest order. Notice that we will roll a d6 because there are 7 types of orders in the Bastion system printed in the Dungeon Master's Guide. Here they are: craft, empower, harvest, maintain, recruit, research, trade. Notice that if you have a problem with harvest, you can't create a these are rolling how to resolve the complication. You can't resolve a harvest problem by harvesting more. You already have a problem with harvesting. So you have to solve the problem with something else. So we're going to roll a d6 to see what that something else is. I rolled a 4. It's a recruiting issue. Hirelings are harmed by a mysterious accident. Issue the recruit order to hire additional labor while the hirelings heal. Issue the recruit issue the recruit order while they're healing, or create an adventure to investigate this mysterious accident. That's not quite appropriate for the theme that what we're doing, but we already know we're losing workers because we were talking about earlier that we already determined there's a migration pattern happening here of people moving out of Capital Rock to Far Hope because it's almost a town. It's on the edge of becoming a town. It's in a booming community right now, and with people leaving this cold snap region for warmer weather, they're just up and uprooting and moving to another rock. Like, this is cold, we're getting out. So they're coming over this way. So we already see a population boom happening over here. So our population issue is we're losing workers. We don't have enough people to till the fields because they're all going someplace that they think they're going to actually be able to grow crops and sustain themselves after the next couple weeks. So that's why 5 is having such a growth surge right now. Far Hope. Foreign merchant, and then complication, harvest, crops. Too many farmers have left
for Far Hope to further sustain the food needed.
We happen to have this foreign merchant thing going on here. So this complication, it said issue the recruit order to hire additional labor while the hirelings heal. So what that would mean is if I don't want to make, like if the players aren't interested in this as an adventure, they could go off and do their own thing or choose a different complication. But since this is an untended complication, it won't resolve itself unless we have a spare order available in our Bastion to say, hey, go fix that problem. That's why we have this pocket of 5 spare Bastion points, because I can spend one. Resolve, harvest, complication. And now we only have a pocket of 4 right now. I'll put an asterisk next to that. And here, because these are temporary point expenditures. So we still have a pocket of 4 points left for taking damage or issuing even other orders, but we can only do 1 complication per Bastion turn. The complication is a third. The problem was they were trying to get 3rd rank harvest materials, and they currently were only able to get 2nd rank. They need 3rd rank, but they only rolled 2nd, so they're short on food. So complication arise, we're missing workers, we need new workers. If I'm going to allocate this as a complication that the guild is going to resolve through this new merchant that's shown up that wants to create a storehouse, it's like, how can we further help you make this happen? Well, if you have workers that you can import to help us work the fields with what we have, that will help reinforce the storehouse that you want to establish. They might agree to that. It's a D20. I have to make a die roll to see if it's basically at this point a persuasion check. I have to see if it succeeds. So it'll be 3rd rank because it's a 3rd rank facility, community, Bastion. I roll a D20 plus 3. It's 3rd rank, so I'll get a D8. And this is the recruit order that I'm issuing, right? We have a teleportation circle that doesn't work. So we can't use that facility to give us a bonus to recruiting new hirelings. We looked at that earlier, right? But because that teleportation circle is currently at 0, we can't do anything with it. And it still needs to be repaired. So I'm going to roll a D20 plus D8 plus 3. And since I need 3rd rank, I'm trying to establish a 3rd rank supply chain for food. That's a DC 20. 10, 15, 20. DC 20. I'm going to roll my 20, my D8, and that 2. I only get 1 die off of this one. And I rolled a fucking 1 and a 5 and a 1, a 4, and a 3. So that's an 8. So I have miserably failed this check. They're like, no one is going to come and visit you here. The reason you need to establish a supply chain is because you can't get workers to come here and farm. There's no way people are going to fly out here for 2 weeks to farm in frozen ground. That is crazy. So this complication remains. In fact, we just failed that check. Failed. 8 out of 20. This triggers a complication. We can't resolve that complication until next week, but we can roll it if we wanted to. I don't technically need to roll it yet, but we will have a complication. The complication was off of recruiting. So now we'll go down to our recruit table. We'll roll a d6 to find out how can we resolve it. It could be harvesting is the solution. So let's roll a d6 to see what that is. I rolled a 6. So trade, it can be resolved with trade. The target of recruiting requires specific materials or items. Issue the trade order to acquire the required materials or items. Or you can create an adventure to go acquire the required materials and items, like a MacGuffin quest. So that's going to be our next objective. Complication equals recruit. Trade. Need to
acquire materials for farmers' return. To import to hire farmers. So next turn. Complication, next turn. It'll be trade. So this is an ongoing problem. They can't resolve that food issue until they can resolve the missing manpower issue, which they weren't able to establish the trade with the storehouse. They're going to build the storehouse, but they can't provide us additional people. So now we're back into trade, which is now we need some sort of material or items to be able to get people. What that's probably going to end up meaning is we have to give people some sort of a stipend or some sort of significant bonus to be able to get here. And we won't know exactly what the flavor of that is until next turn when we roll a new event to flavor what this event is around. So we'll see how that shakes out, but not right now. Right now, it's 9 o'clock. So there will be 3 unique... is it 3? Hold on. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so the number of unique structures... there's the governing building, the actual like NPC-owned bastion that acts as the government structure, the infrastructure for making this place work. It'll have the government settlement. It'll have the government facility and the settlement facility. It'll be 3rd rank, matching the rank of the settlement itself. And we'll build that out next time. But on top of that, 3rd rank means 3 unique bastion structure, locations, organizations separate from the capital government building. So they'll have the government building and then 3 other points of interest in that community. And we'll build those next time. So I'm going to go ahead and cut stream now. We can get some work done off stream. This was the creation of Capital Rock, but we still don't know what the Capitol building is like, and we don't know what our unique structures are yet. But each of them can have their own orders as well, which can trigger complications. And even though there's this trade thing going on with the storehouses in the community as a whole, the capital, the government bastion, and all of the 3 unique bastions will each also have potentially their own bastion events, their own orders and complications, but none of that matters unless the players decide to take interest. So we build out our initial set of things that's going on, and generally we just leave them like that until the players ask about them. And then we reveal what's going on in that community, and if they want to get engaged with it, they can start getting involved in die rolls and making decisions for what that community or that asteroid is up to right now. To get involved, to fill out their roster of 4 weeks of activity for me to generate adventure ideas off of the complications that they take an interest in. So they can theoretically do one or two adventures, like one-shot, one-shot adventures, 1 or 2 of them in a 3-hour block of time that we have, depending on what the task is. So we can potentially knock down, like, say, 6 to 8 things every month in real time during the week of the Bastion turn, where the players are only involved in some of them, but otherwise are overseeing this from the perspective of all the hirelings and NPCs inside of these various bastions. But they can create plot lines out of it by having these events and complications resolve or unspool on themselves to create all these B, C, D plot lines that they can all take an interest in if they want. So there you go. That's the idea behind it. I stream Monday through Fridays in the mornings. I'll be back tomorrow morning. We're going to continue working on Eberron art for the adventure that we're publishing. I'll be back on Thursday night to continue with the unique structures, the unique bastions and the government structuring for Capital Rock, and that'll finish off the community, and then we can start building neighboring communities.
And then Saturday morning we'll be back, and we've finished the conversion for the Artifice of the Forge of the Artificers, all the class revisions to Artificer, and the 5 subclasses. We've already converted all of that to the color magic paradigm that we publish on the DMsGuild. That's linked down below. So now we can start building Strixhaven athletes. So we built the combat mechanics for the Mage Tower game in the Strixhaven Curriculum of Chaos adventure. In the actual published adventure, it's just an ability check, and you either succeed or fail. But we rebuilt it to be rugby or football, or I think rugby or soccer is probably, rugby I think is probably the best. Basically, we built rugby as a 5e combat game, kind of like Blood Bowl in Warhammer, but we're using the 5e game combat game engine to play matches of rugby. Take a ball and throw it at the goal, score a point, keep your enemy from doing it. Using all the mechanics of 5e, spell casting, martial powers, class features, all that cool stuff to basically fight each other to score points in a PvP format, either PvE with players versus DM, or PvP where there's enough players to have 2 separate teams of players competing against each other in initiative order, trying to score goals and take the ball away from each other and defend your goal from being struck. So it's a good system, but we need to play test it. So I'm going to start building athletes on Saturday to demonstrate how you can build these and how we could make characters that work as a team to be able to use our action economy together, to be able to chain events together, to be able to score points and defeat the enemy. So that's what we'll do on Saturday. So in the morning, Monday through Friday, artwork. Monday and Thursday nights, we do this Eberron Spelljammer Mega Kaiju Campaign stuff. And then Saturday, for a while, we'll be doing Strixhaven stuff. And if I can pull together at least 3 players that are willing to participate, we could do a 3v3 team. The DM, me, running a team of 3 versus the players each control 1 character. There you go. So that's the idea. If you thought this stuff was cool, God bless you. Thanks for being here. And thanks. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications. Check out my books. Join my Discord server if you're interested. And maybe I'll see some of you guys in the morning. Maybe I'll see you on Thursday. Later, Gators.